Hello and welcome back to the Wild Island Farm. I hope you are all doing well. I know it has been a while since I shared an update and a renovation video. I'm sorry about that. In the next video, there is going to be a little bit of an explanation, but long story short, life happens and YouTube is my hobby and not my job. So it had to go for a while. I hope I'm back now, but I will not make any promises. But for today, I am back and we are continuing on where we left off, which is February, and a lot happened at that time, and I worked a lot. For example, here, trying to dismantle this, which I'm not very good at. Anyway, moving on from that, nothing happened, by the way, all is well, it was just really loud. I removed this so I could have access to the big new living room wall that we built over the last year and then coated, and now it was finally time to paint it, which is so exciting. I've been waiting for this moment basically since we started the whole process. I love painting. So it was really exciting to get going on that huge wall in the living room that is also going to be the backdrop of my future office, my little writing space and editing space and all of that. So it was really exciting to get started on that. And the reason why I started with this wall was because it is by far the biggest wall that we have. And we were going to exchange the entire wood floor, both in the living room, in a part of the hallway, and in the bedroom. Everywhere where there is the old wood floor, we would have new wood floor. We had debated for a long time if we should try and make like a concrete floor and also make tiles or something else, or like vinyl stuff to stick on top. But in the end, finances made the decision for us, and we went with the same structure that we had before, because in order to have a concrete floor, we had to make one, basically. You will see how the floor looks like underneath, so it would have been really hard to exchange all of that and make it into like a concrete space to work with. And I decided to paint the big living room wall before we did that, so I could splash around as much ink as I wanted to without it being any problem at all, because I needed to reach so high with the painting that I knew I was going to make a mess. Since this has been a while ago, I honestly cannot remember if I ended up doing 3 or 4 layers of paint. Since the backdrop, the coating, was this gray color, it obviously took multiple layers to get it to a nice, even white state with the painting. So it took several days and lots of work. In general, since that time and until today, when I'm recording this voiceover, I have been working in the house a lot on my own, and I've been listening to so many podcasts and audiobooks and all of that. So I'm gonna have like a little thing on the bottom of probably this video and maybe the next 1 or 2 videos where I show you what I've been listening to while I was painting or working or whatever I was doing. During that time, we also finished up the last parts of coating and in general just a bunch of stuff where we had started and never finished it, and we finally finished up a bunch of these things. And then was a very exciting work week because we were finally exchanging our windows. And for that, I first had to remove all the old shutters and the old windows, and then we had to remove the old window frames because nothing could be saved. Unfortunately, those windows were very old and in very bad condition. They were leaking water and air, and we have kept the glasses, so maybe one day we could build a greenhouse, ? But we'll see about that. But they couldn't stay where they were. They needed to be exchanged. And we installed the new windowsills made out of stone this time around. And then someone came from the mainland to install the new windows. I unfortunately have zero footage of that because it was in total a full week of work. And they were strangers that I obviously didn't have the consent to film. So yeah, I'm very sorry about that. But we got new windows and it took a full week of very intense work and lots of wind in the house. Then it was finally time to tackle the wood floor. This is the before state. As you can see, it was in very bad condition. It was not safe already for a long time. Basically, since we got the keys to the house, it wasn't safe. There were holes, things were breaking apart, which is why we had already some extra beams on top, some extra wood on top, so walking was a bit safer, but it wasn't really safe. But well, we did the best that we could because only now could we exchange it. Also, whoever remembers those horrifying plastic tiles, you are a true OG. Thank you so much for sticking around. And I am getting flashbacks looking at those tiles. And yeah, then we started to remove stuff, and now you can see why I previously mentioned that it would have been an absolute nightmare to create like a brand new floor of concrete or whatever hard material it would have been, because this is how it looked like underneath the wood floor. This was an incredibly intense week for me. I think this is the hardest physical labor I have ever done in my entire life. And I have just been through 1 year of back-breaking renovations. So it was a lot. And I was also incredibly anxious the entire time because, as you can see, this was not necessarily safe. But I also wouldn't have known how to make this any more safer because for most of this time, it was just the contractor and me. There was no one else to do this work. So with just the two of us, we had to make do and we had to work as best as we could. And I was so grateful that my partner was able to leave work early on those days. So at least for the last 2 hours of the day, I could sit down and rest my body and calm my mind and not be completely on edge the entire time. Obviously, I didn't film a lot because I was mostly just busy working and trying not to freak out completely. Here I'm just putting down some of the old boards on top of the new beams so we could use the hallway. That was obviously just a temporary solution. And just watching the footage back, I have to be honest, it gives me so much anxiety, so I'm very sorry if I'm causing that to any one of you. But for me, it just brings me back to those days where my heart rate was incredibly high, nonstop. Not only because the work was so hard and so dangerous, but also because some months previously I had an accident with one of those new beams and it fell on my leg. I mentioned this in one of the earlier videos. And even to this day, about 10 months later, I still have problems with that leg. So I have a lot of respect for these very heavy new beams.
Good morning. It is the middle of a very long, hardcore renovation week. We are exchanging the wood floor, which is super exciting, and I'm so happy that we're getting so much done. But it is really hard, bone-breaking stuff, and I'm tired. I think I look tired too. I don't even know what that redness is on my face. Like, I don't know. I'm really tired. It's crazy dusty to remove. I should. This is already with the new beams underneath and, you know, just the old stuff nailed on top. And this is where we're gonna continue to work. It's a bit scary, I'm not gonna lie, to have holes everywhere. I'm really just so happy that we're doing this now. This is the last big project, except for the electricity, which is kind of already prepared. But this is the last big project that we're tackling before the move. I mean, there's still enough to do. There's like a ton of small stuff that we need to do, like small thing here, small thing there, So there's still a lot of work to be done, but this is the last like huge task, and especially the last thing where we have to remove shit. And I'm just so glad. I'm very tired, and I constantly have headaches and migraines. But I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that we're getting this done finally.
Esta pedra está mais fora.
What was?
A part of this process was also to remove the old stairs that led from the bedroom into the basement, and underneath those stairs we found some hidden treasures like this rotten barrel, some metal stuff, and a piece of an old transport box for dry milk powder, and some other very interesting things.
Good.
The part is...
It's not good.
What were you expecting, Tasmin?
Nothing else. The house was abandoned for years.
É criado, chefe. Também é Angelica. É Angelica? Está cheio?
É?
É mesmo?
Ouvindo na ideia. Está aí, fechada bom.
Tá bom. This is good.
This is good?
Yeah.
You're serious?
Yeah.
Isso foi para mostrar.
We will try it.
Oh my god! From the bottle!
Angelica, mas está boa.
Está boa.
You said that is good.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was good though.
Está boa. Tem Angelica.
Ah!
We have a full thing of Angelica.
Bottles.
But like, how old is that thing?
No idea.
After the stairs were successfully destroyed, I spent an insane amount of time cleaning the basement floor You would never believe how much garbage collected down there just during the renovation. And then the new beams were finally done, which meant we could put down the new floor. Oh my god, I'm still so happy thinking about that very first board that we put down because it was just such a milestone. And here you can see all the floor that we had. It's very heavy, by the way. Also, lots of muscle building here, carrying that inside the house. And here you can see already the first few lines of the floor being put down. Luckily, that was on the weekend, so my partner was there to help, because this is actually much more exhausting than you would think. While this was very slow work, I was just so grateful the entire time that we were finally seeing progress, because things like this just make such a huge difference in a whole renovation process. Things are finally coming together, materials are being used, garbage is getting thrown out, and you can just start to imagine how it's gonna be like when you actually live there and you suddenly have a light at the end of this very, very long tunnel.